relative, friend, or minister. Or call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline toll-free at 800-273-TALK. That's 800-273-TALK. All of us are here to help.
WTIM. Good morning, Central Illinois, and welcome to the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. The show is sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I'm your host, Reed Kamai, and we're about maybe a little less than 2.5 months out from the election. So now's a good time to check in with Dr. Kent Redfield, professor of political science at the University of Illinois-Springfield. He is our first guest this morning. Dr. Redfield, welcome into the show.
No, good to be here.
Yeah, good to talk to you as always. I know we just wrapped up the Illinois State Fair, and one component of the fair I know is something that you pay attention to. It was when both of the major political parties in the state descended on the fair. Well, they've been at the fair really throughout the time, but they had Democrat Day on last Wednesday, Republican Day on Thursday. So then candidates came out and spoke about the big issues and what they are looking to achieve really throughout the state. I'm curious if anything really stood out in terms of their agendas, especially with, of course, the elections coming up.
Well, it was a show of contrast because, the Democrats have hold all of the statewide constitutional offices. They have supermajorities in the congressional delegations, supermajorities in the state legislature, in the House and the Senate, and so they had a huge breakfast early before they went out for their activities on the fairgrounds, and had U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts keynoting that breakfast, and then when they got out to the fairgrounds, then we had the sitting governor, the sitting attorney general, secretary of state, comptroller, treasurer, all there, with Democratic county chairmen from throughout the state, out on the ag secretary's lawn. It's a section over in the ag world in the fairgrounds, and so that was a day where they were showcasing all of their incumbents and talking about all of the great things that the Democrats have done for Illinois. And on Thursday, then the Republicans, whose fortunes have declined quite a bit over the last 3 or 4 election cycles, was much more subdued event. There really weren't any kind of rock stars either within from Illinois or and no one, there were no keynote person from out of state, and they are the same person that was beaten badly 4 years ago in the governor's race. Sharon Bailey is running again, and I would assume most people would be hard pressed to tell you who the Republican nominees are for Secretary of State and Attorney General and the other constitutional office, even the U.S. Senate. We had a very spirited contest on the Democratic side to, get the nomination after Senator Durbin decided to not run for re-election. And, Don Tracy is the Republican nominee. He's a former state party chairman. He's run for some offices, statewide offices in the past, but is not a household name. And so, the reality is that, the Democrats look like a very successful franchise, kind of introducing their latest iteration and the Republicans, are in a difficult position with not having incumbents, not having a foreign team, having many problems in terms of and at a disadvantage in terms of kind of the way that state politics in Illinois plays out these days. So and I was sure most of the people going to the fair were there for corn dogs and concerts, and I certainly was there for a Friday night concert, and try to eat your way across from one end of the fair to the other. But it is kind of the beginning of the campaign season. This is historically how we market. So I guess this is if you're not a fan of wall-to-wall political ads, then you've been warned, because it certainly is coming.
Oh, they sure are. I know our stations air some of them as well. And I know you've talked a lot. I mean, you even mentioned it right now with the way the political balance is set up, something that's certainly favored Democrats because of the of of yeah how elections have gone before, how politics have gone in the state. And it seems like historically we've had a lot of very non-competitive statewide races, and in races for the more regional positions in the state house and the U.S. House as well. And does it seem like we're kind of on course for that again in 2026?
Yeah, it is. If you go back into the 70s, then the suburbs were very Republican. Cook County, particularly Chicago, was very Democratic. Downstate was quite competitive, and that was kind of where you won elections. Was you tried to get a draw between the suburbs and the city of Chicago, and then get your majority out of winning downstate. And that has changed because of the population has changed. The growth has been in the suburbs rather than downstate. Decline in Chicago, Cook County, but not as much. And then the demographics changed pretty significantly from about 1990 to 2010, where northeastern Illinois became much more racially diverse. And the result of that is that you win elections in the suburbs, and starting with Bruce Rauner's defeat by Governor Pritzker in 2020. 2018. The Democrats have had the edge, and you put on in terms of just the basic what's the statewide vote, and it's a Democratic state, and you win the elections in the suburbs, and the Republicans to a certain extent lost the suburbs over social issues, not economic issues, but the state is more liberal, if you want to put a label on it, overall than it was historically, and that is hurt in the suburbs. And so, once you get down, then it's hard to get back up, because not only you have incumbents, but you also have people have put money in politics. Some of them like to elect Democrats and Republicans. Some of them put money in politics to get access to power. And when you've got the most incumbents, you get more money. And so it's a rich get richer sort of scenario in terms of, that aspect. And so nothing is permanent. The Democrats have got all kinds of landmines out there of problems that have need fixing in the state. And so these things get turned around, and we did elect a Republican governor in Bruce Rauner in all within, people's recent memories. So, this is not fixed in stone, but this year you would much rather be on the Democratic team probably than the Republican team, or wagering money on the prediction markets with that in mind.
All right. Well, it sounds pretty consistent with what you've talked about before. I'm talking right now with Dr. Kent Redfield, professor of political science at the University of Illinois-Springfield. Let's take a break and we'll talk plenty more, I'm sure, when it comes to elections right here on the WTIM Morning Show on your information station.
Your information station, WTIM.
Got driveway problems? Is grass creeping into your rocks and rocks ending up in your grass? Tired of fighting it year-round? Call Cousin Bill. We stop loose rocks for good, so your driveway stays neat, clean, and low maintenance. No more mess, no more hassle, just results that last. Call 217-788-7777 for your free estimate today, or visit
ilepaving.com.
When it comes to connecting with America's farmers and ranchers, nothing beats the authentic voice of Ag Radio. Farm broadcasters have been the voice of rural America since 1944, building trusted relationships with agricultural producers across generations. Today, the network of over 140 Ag radio stations reaches farmers and ranchers during their most productive hours when they're actively working their operations and making business decisions. What makes Ag Radio uniquely effective? Farmers listen to farm broadcasters for information that directly impacts their livelihood. When your message is delivered alongside crucial weather updates, market reports, and agricultural news, it receives the same attention and credibility. Farm Radio Connects offers agricultural advertisers targeted access to this engaged audience through professionals who understand both broadcasting and agriculture. According to the National Association of Farm Broadcasting, 78% of farmers consider information from farm broadcasters highly trustworthy. When you need to reach rural America effectively, choose the voices they already trust. Visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com and discover how Ag Radio can elevate your agricultural marketing strategy.
So you call your virtual insurance company to ask a simple question about your policy, but now you're on hold listening to this music while you wait and wait. Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and pick up the phone when you call, because you shouldn't be on hold so long that you memorize the music. That's simple human sense.
Call me, Casey McClure, at McClure-Helberg Insurance for all your insurance needs. 824-2266.
Taylorville Care Center's personalized therapy program helps you get back to enjoying the sunshine. Whether it's backyard barbecues, grandkid games, or summer strolls, we'll get you moving again. You'll have a private room, great medical care, and the therapy you need to get home and back to doing what you love. Friends and family are always welcome to stop by and cheer you on if you've been in the hospital or just need a little boost. Taylorville Care Center is here to help. Call 824-9636. 824-9636. Taylorville Care Center, caring for our community for over 50 years.
CTI is the only internet company that offers no data caps and limitless data for limitless possibilities. They're your local internet provider. Sign up by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Looking for the best deal? Head to Landmark of Taylorville. Get employee pricing plus on select new Chevy, Buick, and GMC models. Shop new and pre-owned today at Landmark or click our banner at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
You always do better at Landmark. WTIM.
And this is the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. We're back. It's sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I'm your host, Reed Kimai, and I continue my conversation with Dr. Kent Redfield, a professor of political science at the University of Illinois-Springfield. We've been talking about the upcoming elections happening in November, and all of the elections, the state politics, all of that happen with the national politics certainly in the spotlight as well, and there have been certainly some notable trends in terms of how Illinois has voted in the presidential election. Now, Donald Trump certainly had quite a gain on Illinois in 2024 compared to 2020, but now it's 2026, and people are thinking about what's been happening in the national scene. I'm curious, Dr. Redfield, how all of that might factor into how the elections in 2026 turn out in Illinois.
Yeah, obviously, President Trump is not on the ballot, but there's the momentum and the enthusiasm and the energy that a political party will have. That's a little bit hard to quantify, but you can get a sense of whether or not there's a lot of enthusiasm in voters. You look at the turnout in primaries. You also want to look at kind of what happened, 4 years in the last presidential election, 2 years ago. The President Trump scored better in Illinois than he did when he ran, against either Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden. And so you might look at that and say, well, that kind of looks like maybe that Republicans might gain some momentum in Illinois. But you take a little deeper look and you see that in the 2024, President Trump did better in Illinois, but if you look at his total vote, it was almost identical. The same number of people voted for him in 2024 that voted for him in 2020. What happened is that the Democratic candidate Kamala Harris got almost 400,000 votes less in Illinois than Joe Biden did 4 years earlier. And so that looks like a lot of, independent, marginal Democrats, disaffected Democrats. They didn't want to vote for President Trump, but they didn't want to vote for, the Democratic nominee either. And so, if the Democrats have some momentum and if, President Trump is providing some headwinds for the Republicans, then, this looks like a situation where the Democrats in Illinois could benefit from people who are unhappy with national politics, going to the polls and taking it out on the Republicans. And what we're talking about here is a group of voters who just opted out 4 years ago or 2 years ago and are now have an opportunity to for the first time since the beginning of the president's second term have a chance to go to the ballot. So that doesn't look that's one more thing in terms of the headwinds that Republican candidates in Illinois may be facing when we get to November.
And we have about 90 seconds to go. I know the approval ratings for President Donald Trump have been rather low as of late. I'm curious what the difference is like in Illinois compared to, the national numbers.
His polling in Illinois has gone down, and it started. We are one of the states at the bottom of presidential approval for President Trump, and so his numbers have gone down, and relative to Illinois, and Illinois as a whole is a state that where his unfavorables are among the highest.
All right, so we'll see what kind of impact that has as well. Quickly, before I let you go, where can people go to find information on their local elections?
Oh, your county clerk's office, they're the people that run the elections. They do the polling places, they get the votes out, the ballots out. And so your local county clerk, that's one of their main jobs is to administer elections. Yep. And they do a great job.
All right. Dr. Kent Redfield, a professor of political science at the University of Illinois-Springfield, has been my guest in this part of the show, talking all things elections coming up. Dr. Redfield, thanks for coming on.
Oh, certainly. Always happy to talk.
Yes, yes, and it's always good to hear from you. And thank you for listening here on the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. Stay tuned, because in about 10 minutes, we'll have another conversation.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville.
96.1 FM Taylorville.
107.5 FM Shelbyville.
107.9 FM Pena Nokomis.